What's up, everybody? It's Matt Johnson. We're back with another episode of Real Estate Uncensored. I've got my co-partner, the co-pilot, the junior grandmaster himself, Greg McDaniels, here with me, literally in the co-pilot seat, way closer than I usually am to him. He's very loud and lots of hand motions. I don't know what's going on over there. This is the place where you get actionable ideas, insight, and inspiration to turn your real estate career into a life of freedom. And we've got a fantastic guest with us today. We're going to be talking about why accountability and plans and systems are probably not the first thing you need. What you really need is to get your mind and your thinking right, then the other stuff will actually work for you. We're talking with Kim Ades of Frame of Mind Coaching. We've also got Gene Volpe, who's here with us as he regularly joins us on Friday mornings. So first, let me bring in Kim. Kim, how are you here today?
I'm great, and so happy to be talking to you guys today.
I know we're excited. Ever since our prep call, I've been excited for this episode because I know we're going to get into some deep stuff, and you're also a lot of fun and have a great story of the business that you built before the coaching business, and we're going to dive into all that. So we're going to have a lot of fun on the show today. And then Gene Volpe, the Volpinator, the evil bald marketing ninja, is also here. Gene, how are you?
Good, guys. How are you?
Doing awesome.
Awesome, buddy.
I think it's funny. One of these days, I think when he's doing this while you're sitting there, you're going to get caught in the jaw. I was waiting for him to hit you. With that.
Yeah.
Pop. Yeah,
pretty much.
So here's something funny. I was with my girlfriend last night, and Lily and I were out for a date night, got a couple drinks, and we were driving to this brewery, and she was telling me about her day and talking about her son and everything else. And she goes, "You wouldn't believe what my son did today." And I'm like, "What did Calvin do?" And she's like, "Well, he's prospecting for me." Apparently, Calvin, who's 10 years old, goes up to every single person he knows, goes, "Are you thinking about buying or selling in real estate this year?" And he got the crosswalk lady to say yes. Her son is going to be buying a house. And so if a 10-year-old can ask people about buying or selling, guys, Kim's going to show you ways to make it easy, but you have zero reason why you cannot ask every person you know about buying or selling real estate. A 10-year-old is showing you up right now. Okay.
I've never had much use for children, but I'm thinking now I might have to hire a small flock of them and just send them out door knocking.
Just go.
So can I jump in? I gotta jump in.
Please.
So why do you think the 10-year-old doesn't have a problem going up to everyone he knows to ask if they're thinking of buying or selling a house? What's the difference between the 10-year-old and all of the rest of us?
Mindset. He has never been told no. He doesn't know not to ask.
And he wouldn't take it personally even if they said no.
No.
Because it doesn't reflect on him. It's not going to burn his self-esteem.
No.
Right. He doesn't have all this garbage clouding his mind. So he just does it. And it doesn't really matter what response he gets. It doesn't affect him. It doesn't mean anything about him. And so he just goes and does it. So actually, that's a great example of, where real estate agents, real estate professionals can get caught up because they get stuck and not doing the things they need to do, not because they don't know how to ask, but because something else comes into play and trips them up.
Yeah, we were actually just on a call with a group of really awesome agents for another project we're working on. And overall, we heard a lot of mindset and a lot of fear that was stopping them from getting to where they want to be. And it's just amazing that if you can just legitimately get out of your own way, and if you go into your mind, I was actually listening to a podcast yesterday as a Success Talks. If you guys don't, Success Magazine, Success Talks is their podcast. But this guy was talking about how the way you view things, you will chemically react to them mentally. If you have fear and negativity, you will I forget the word around it, but it's like a membrane around that neurons, and then that will become part of the way you interact and react and see the world. But it can be for positive or it can be for negative. It's amazing.
Well, it's neuroassociations.
It's amazing.
Just listening to Tony Robbins talk about this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it affects you literally at the level of your nervous system if you let it.
If you let it. And there's the easy systems that you can, there's the Sedona method about releasing negativity. You guys can look into it, but it's you allow yourself to feel the negativity. Then you ask yourself 3 easy questions. Could I release it? Would I release it? When? Guys, I do this probably 50 times a day. No joke.
Just when I'm in the office.
Oh, it's like I'm doing it the whole show when Matt's around. But I really do that. And it is amazing to feel the weight come off of you. And it'll give you the ability to just let your life be the way your life needs to be. And Kim, I know you're going to let us in on some incredible secrets, but if people could just get out of their way and allow themselves to eliminate the negativity, it's like a burden. It's like carrying a backpack, a 12,000 pound backpack trying to walk up, a mountain. It's almost impossible at times because your mental state holds you back. And if you give yourself the ability to find a ways past it, I mean, I've seen massive changes in my life. So Kim, I'm really glad you're here. I think that you're going to really open up a lot of our eyes to what you have.
You know, this conversation reminds me of a gentleman I knew years ago who was the head trainer at Exit Realty.
Mhm.
And I became friendly with him, and I said, well, how do you do what you do? Like, he makes, I don't know, how many calls a day? He's like, well, look, I do the math. I think, how many calls do I need to get to in order to reach one person and make a sale? So I do the math. And how much will I make? Let's call it $5,000 with that one commission. And he's kind of doing the math. So if I divide that $5,000 by 100 phone calls, or however many phone calls, each phone call is worth X amount of dollars. So what he does when he gets on the phone is he calls up, let's call it a FSBO, he calls up and he asks if they're ready to list with an agent. And it doesn't matter if they say yes or no, but let's imagine they say no. He says, well, thanks anyway, I just made $5. And they say, well, what do you mean? What do you mean? And he said, well, you know, it doesn't matter if you say yes or no, I'm still making my $5. So in his mind, every phone call is like $5, $5, $5. And he's just making a whole bunch of money with every call, no matter what the other person on the other end of the phone says. Well, if you think about it like that, you're just raking it in, right? Just keep making those calls. You just keep making more $5. And so that's a totally different mental set around approaching sales. And for him, it changed the game.
You know, Kim, I just ran numbers while you were talking. I have a spreadsheet. My father, the Grand Master, came up with a number of years ago for door knocking and tracking and stuff. And my average value on the calls or on the doors is about $1,200 per hour. So wow. I just ran it. So every 60 seconds, I'm worth $20. So if you want to be a dick to me, God bless you. I just made $20. You go be your dick self. And we're moving forward.
Hang on, I'm getting a $20 bill out of my wallet right now.
Please pay me, Johnson.
Yeah. I think inflation just kicked in. No.
Inflation just kicked in.
That's funny.
All right, let's take a real quick question. Then we've got Gene that's going to bring in a very, very good tip for us all. So this is something that caught my eye. This is from Kevin Drews on the lead gen scripts and objections page. Basically, the scenario is he took a listing appointment, gets to the end, good vibes, good numbers, qualified them up and down. Supposedly, they're not interviewing any other agents. Tried to close. They won't close. They want to think about it, right? They want to talk it over between themselves. So any thoughts on effective closing tactics or suggestions on talking points or some hook to leave it in the best possible spot to assure that he gets that listing appointment signed as quickly as possible? So, Greg, let's start with you. What's your opinion on that?
One of the things that I've been a big fan of is not leaving the listing appointment at that point. If they need to think about it, the agent has not delivered enough value in some or more than one or two areas. So what we have done before is we say, okay, well, Matt, Julie, your three obese little wood denting obese babies, you know what, I'd like to sit down. You know, I would literally not move from the dining room table. I'd say, great, what area have I not explained clear enough to you? Let's get this out. And then I just awkwardly stare at you.
Great.
No, but seriously, what you're doing is you're trying to identify, because if they haven't said yes, and this is your listing appointment, and there's no other interviews, they aren't comfortable with some aspect or more than one aspect of what you're giving to them. That value prop is not strong enough, and so sit there and pull it out of them. Understand where you need to be more clear. An example: when I did a listing appointment last summer, I thought it was going great. I mean, we were jiving, we were laughing, all the go signs were there. I come back to them, they're like, no, we got everything. We're perfect. You know what? We're ready to go. I'm like, great, I'll send the paperwork over. They went dark on me, ghosted on me, right? Got a hold of them about a week later, and I'm like, guys, what happened? I thought we were ready to go. They're like, well, you said team. We got a little uncomfortable because we thought you were just going to hand us off to one of your team members. We're never going to see you again. And see, I didn't have my antennas up to pick that up. And so when they need to think about something, really read the situation, read the people, read the body language, make sure they're not uncomfortable with you or they're not unclear about something. So it's worked well for me.
All right, Kim, what about you? How would you handle that sort of situation?
So to me, very similar to what Greg is saying, is that there's an unspoken objection that they're not expressing. And the question is, what is that objection and how do we bring it forward? So as you're listening to them, one of the questions that I might ask, maybe an unconventional question, it would be a two-part question is, okay, so you guys are going to go talk about it. What would have to happen in this relationship for it to go right? And what would have to happen for this to go terribly wrong? And I would put that right there out there on the table so that they could say, here's what we don't want and here's what we really do want. And I want both so that I can address it all. Right? So it's an unconventional question because you never want to say, how could this go wrong? But when you put it right there on the table, you're forcing them to express what they're not really comfortable yet expressing. And so I want to push them in that direction and really get into the space where I'm able to understand the holdout. Because if I can get the holdout on the table, then I can address it. If without getting it on the table, I'm just guessing. I'm shooting in the dark. I need them to tell me what's holding them up.
Yeah, and I like that. The way that you put that presents this kind of hypothetical scenario where it's not, hey, here's why I'm afraid of moving forward with you right now because I think you're going to do X, Y, and Z and I'm not going to like it. It kind of it puts some distance between that so that they can say, well, if it was going to go badly, this is how I think it would go badly. And it's a hypothetical kind of situation, not a direct reflection where they have to because most people are nice and they don't want to hurt your feelings and they don't want to say something that's going to make it super, super awkward and uncomfortable. So putting it in that hypothetical situation gives them kind of a safe space where they can get their objection out without feeling like you're going to, they're rejecting you right on the spot.
Right. And what that does is it gets them to say what they haven't said before. And it could be, well, we had a bad experience over here, or we're concerned that you don't have enough experience, or we're concerned about your team and we don't want you to pawn us off, or whatever it is. But we need to hear their concerns. Otherwise, there's no way we can address them. So it's not always so much about but I just want to address this one thing. It's not always so much about making sure we're clear. It's more about making sure they're clear and really understanding their thinking.
Yeah. The miscommunication is where a lot of the troubles come, both in business relationships, personal relationship, business partner relationships, because one person goes, "Oh, he or she totally gets what I'm saying." Because someone could be nodding like this and be going, "What the fuck did they are?" Just nodding, smile, no clue what they're saying. Okay, right. But if you ask for the clarity, I think that's the most important thing. And I do it. Matt and I have a very good working relationship, business partner relationship, because if there's I was asking him some stuff earlier today about something, and he gave me an in-depth answer on something that I'm like, oh, well, that explains a lot today. I'll talk to Lily about stuff, and I'll ask her, hey, look, can we have a conversation now about blah blah blah? And it gives you permission to ask and get that full attention at that time. And I think when you ask for someone's opinion on something, but they aren't fully there mentally, it's not going to get you where you want to be, because they'll be yeah, and that doesn't get you anywhere, right? So
yeah, well, and that's where your mentality has to be. The objective of the appointment is not to take the listing unconditionally. The objective of the appointment is to help them make the best decision on how to move forward. And if you really believe that, then them not signing with you at the end is an opportunity for you to help them make the best decision, not another opportunity for you to circle around and give your bullet points again until you beat them over the head and get them to just say yes. Because even if they do sign a listing agreement, are they serious? Are they going to be a great client? Are you really aligned at that point? Probably not.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Go ahead, Kim.
All right. So, Gene, let's bring you in for a second. You've been strangely, mysteriously, and unsurreptitiously quiet.
And it makes me nervous.
It's very disturbing. We know something's up.
No, actually not. No, I was just really going through if you were going to, along the lines of that question, if you were going to bring it to me, I was going to have to break down and tell you that there's, that's one of my flaws, right? So there's, as you know, through our friendship over the last couple of months, there's elements of the sales process that makes me uncomfortable. And I live in a world where I have a luxury in that if I'm sitting in front of a potential client, typically it's because they already called me. So in a lot of cases, I don't actually have to sell it. Actually, more often than not, if I oversell the service, that's when I tend to lose the client, not when I don't answer enough questions. So I'm kind of on the other side. But if I was in that position, I know one of my terrible flaws is that I would be like, okay, just get back to me when you make that up, when you guys decide, because I'm easy and I know what it's like to be on the other side of the table when Greg's sitting there saying, I'm not leaving until you tell me what's wrong. And it's, you're like, I don't want to tell him I don't like his haircut, but that's really, you know what I mean? So
First of all, that's not possible.
No,
we know that can't possibly be it.
That is actually not true. I was just making something up, right? But I mean, for me, that's a hard part of that process, right?
But Kim, let's bounce this back to you. So Kim, how would you advise? So someone that's in Gene's position, they're uncomfortable coming to the end of that process. How do they reflip their frame of mind?
So to me is, what is it that's making you uncomfortable? Why do you freeze up? Why do you back up? What's the dialogue that's going on in your head that says, oh my God, I'm in a dangerous zone. I need to skirt out as fast as possible. So that's an interesting thing. And what we would normally find is a set of beliefs that say, well, they don't like me, or I'm unsure, or I will leave them the space to make the decision because that's respectful. But there's all these beliefs that come into play, and those are the beliefs that determine your behavior. So in the case of Greg, he's like, I don't have those beliefs. I have the belief that they need to give me an answer. Otherwise, I'm wasting my time. How many minutes are worth $1,200 every hour?
Every hour, yeah.
Right. So I don't have time to waste. Yes or no, I got to go. Right. But other people don't have those beliefs. Other people have beliefs that say, well, it's reasonable that they need to talk with one another, and I would want to talk to my spouse, and I don't want to be pushy, and I don't want to turn them off, and all that dialogue really just creates an end of conversation. And that is the dialogue that needs to be addressed. Whether they can pick up a few skills and say, okay, I know how to handle this. Yeah, that's training. Everyone can pick up a few skills. But usually before anyone's able to pick up skills, they have to address that dialogue.
Well, can I bring mine up? I would like for you to psychoanalyze me, right? Because I think for me this is a real simple answer. Where's my hiccup? My hiccup is being on the other side of the table, and I know how emotionally quickly I can be turned off by a sales guy that's too pushy. Like my thing sometimes, if I'm on the other side of the table and somebody's saying to me, I really need you to make a decision right now, my answer to that is, no, I'll make the decision when I'm ready. And so once you cross that line with me, I'm emotionally disconnected from you. And so I don't want to put my potential client in the same scenario where it's like, look, this dude told me this whole time he doesn't sell his service, and now he's telling me he's not leaving until he gets an answer. That's bullshit, right? So that's where my head's at.
So you're seeing an inconsistency in the guy, and you're getting turned off.
No, the pushiness.
I understand, but what I'm saying is, if someone approached you that way, that inconsistency where he's saying I'm not selling, but then he sells, kind of creates internal conflict, or it doesn't jive well. It doesn't sit well with you. I understand that, and there's a way to continue the dialogue without being pushy. There's a way to continue the dialogue without feeling threatening or putting someone's back up against the wall. There's a way to do that. And the question is, do you believe that there's a way to do that? We can figure that out. It's not about what you say or how you say it. It's about, are you ready to take the next step? And if so, you have to believe that that's possible, and then we'll work out the details. Because there are a million different approaches to an objection, and it's not about which approach is best. You can try 10 of them and see what works. And it may be that one works with one couple and another works with another couple. Right. It's not so much about the specific strategy. It's about the willingness to not back off. And that's really the first step. It's okay. I get where we are. I have a role to play to help someone make a decision. Am I willing to play that role? Am I willing to step up? Or am I at a place where now I need to shrink?
Yeah.
And that's not good.
There was I went to a timeshare thing the other day, and I got roped into it. Thank you, Lily. But
free. Was it free wine? I believe was the value prop.
There was so much free stuff. It was totally worth it. But I learned a lot. And Kim, this comes down to what you just said. The guy that was our sales rep, I think he's like 3 or 4 weeks deep into real estate, so he's knowledgeable. And what happened here is that he sat down and he first said, "We don't sell, we don't push. If it's for you, it's for you," right? And then when we got done with he tried too hard not to sell, and made me the internal uncomfortable feeling. He kicked in with rocket boosters. Yeah. And I was like, I don't like this guy. He's trying too hard. And then he says he doesn't sell, but then he sits down and goes, "All right, so what do you think? Is it for you? I didn't see you guys didn't write anything. Let's write something. Let's spin this out." I'm like, oh my gosh, bro, come on, man. like you just said you didn't sell, but now you're selling me so hard. Like all I want to do, I wanted to crawl out of my skin and walk away. And so I mean, Kim, what is something? How can us as agents not give that feeling? And what are some? Okay, I have so many questions here for you. First off, how do we not do that? And how do we identify if we're doing it to correct that?
Let's talk about something. I want to rewind a little bit. You know, and it's been a while, so forgive my age and memory. But you know, in the olden days, they say, "Yeah, I'm going to go do a listing presentation." Does that sound familiar? Is that language still used in the real estate industry today? Okay, so why are you presenting anything? Right, like that.
We don't ever. We don't ever call it that. Yeah.
Right,
for
but
that exact
that's
reason.
super interesting. And so why am I challenging that right now? Is because what you really need to do is go do a needs assessment, right? Which is to say, let me understand what you need. Let me understand where you struggled in the past. Let me understand how this would be a win-win for you and your family. Let me understand the type of person you need to work with so that you can feel good about this. And so, you know, what's at stake really is the idea of turning the conversation around from presenting to understanding, right? And that's really, really missing. So when you can understand the person in front of you and they feel understood, and by the way, this is how coaching is sold. If the person on the other end of the phone or the conversation does not feel understood, there's no way that they're going to buy anything from you. And that's the body of what's missing oftentimes in sales. So if you could understand their needs and say, okay, here's what I understand and here's what we offer, it looks like a good match. Then it's not a push. Then it's not a struggle. Then it's easy and it's fun and it's mutually enjoyable. And that's what's often missing. Even the way that training happens in real estate, I think, is misled, misguided.
Yeah, I really agree with you. I mean, just those two little nuggets you just gave. I mean, you honestly made me feel comfortable when it said like, I'm going to come over and do a listing presentation. Oh man, presentation, that sounds very formal. Sounds scary.
Sounds like your Brat vacuum cleaner with you, Greg?
I am.
Okay.
My new Dyson.
Great, awesome.
But I mean, but if you come over and say, I'm going to do a needs assessment with you and your family to make sure that if we're the right team for you and you're the right client for us, and I want to understand what you need from me. I mean, that just sounds more authentic to what people are really wanting in today's day and age. They don't want to be sold, but they want to buy. And if you can give them the opportunity to understand where they're coming from, I think that isn't. I mean, I'm writing this stuff down. If I'm looking away, you guys see me. I'm vigorously writing what Kim's telling me.
Yeah, it's really good.
It is, and so, I want to put it.
Gene, jump back in. So,
oh God, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm saying I'm giving you a place to jump back in because, how do you apply that to your situation? Does that make a difference for you, like internally?
It made a huge difference. This is what I was going to actually go back to. You just kind of led me right back to it. She said something about, I'm here to help you make a decision. And I feel like that almost takes the pressure off of everybody. It's like, look, because I can spin that like this. You called me in to help you make a decision with, now I'm just talking about me, for your marketing needs, right? And I hope I hit on all of those points. But if I didn't, let's clarify, right? If there's anything I can explain better or something we didn't cover or something that makes you uncomfortable, let's do it. But I would like to help you make a decision, even if the decision is not using my service. I'd love to be able to walk out here with finality. And to me, that's not me jamming my stuff down your throat. That's me saying, let's do this together. And if I walk out without your business, that's fine. And I'm okay with that, and that's almost a take. I like that. I think that was really good.
Yeah, that is really good. Kim, does that resonate when it's presented that way? Would that be more effective way to get a decision out of that appointment?
Yeah, sure. And I think sometimes, like, I look at myself as a coach who runs a coaching business with a team of coaches. Not every client is the right fit. And so it's okay to sometimes say, I think that you'd be better off with a different solution. I think that's okay. And so the idea of like, hey, I'm not attached to you needing to sign up with me. I am attached to you making a good decision for yourself, which may or may not include me. And so, that's very authentic, but it's also putting yourself in a position where you're not desperate and you're not hanging on to the idea of an absolute certain outcome. It just frees you right up.
Go ahead, Gene.
I'm sorry. She just really hit the nail on the head. I mean, I think this could sidetrack into a whole nother episode, right? But that was a huge breakthrough for me when I went from I really need you to sign up because I got to pay my mortgage to look, we're the best in the business and we'd love to help you. But if that's not the right fit, that's perfectly fine. Maybe somewhere down the road we can reconnect. And that to me was a mind-blowing shift when I went from actually selling because I needed it to selling because they needed it. That was huge.
Right.
Yeah, it's the pullback. It's the pullback method that you can do in personal and in business. You know, I want to make sure I'm the right fit for you and you're the right fit for me. And if we're not, that's totally okay. Yep. I mean, when people have done that to me in the past, immediately I'm like, whatever you're selling, I want now. And a lot of people have a commission breath. And like Kim, like you said, people have a set idea of what they're going into a goal for. So, you know, newer agents will go into an open house and say, well, I have got to get 3 leads, or it's not a good day. Or if I go on the appointment, I've got to get the contract signed when I come back out. In reality, they're going in with an unrealistic expectation, and they might be stepping on their own toes because, you know, they might not be the best fit for that homeowner as their representative. And you only bring your time and your knowledge. And if you squander one or both, then you're doing yourself the biggest disservice and you're doing a disservice to your client. Yeah. You need to be very picky about the people that you work with because, guys, like Matt, we're all spending this hour together. We all chose to be here. We could all be doing other things because this is something of value and we're going to push it forward in the universe. We know this is the right place for us. And so where's the right place for you guys, working with your buyers or your sellers or anything else? I think that's just a really good thing to keep in mind because we all get caught up with, I got to work with every single person. There's no one that I shouldn't work with. Yeah. And I mean, our team I'll give you a quick example. Our team got really butthurt this is years ago, that like one of our past buyers that, was going to turn into a seller, they built a house and the guy was a contractor and he listed with another agency. And we got real upset about it. We're like, what the fuck, blah, blah, blah. Guys, it was the biggest blessing we didn't work with them. Ended up there's massive foundation problems because he cut corners and he didn't disclose things and he had lesser square footage than he had represented. Goodness. It's been like a 3-year lawsuit. And You know what? Be thankful for the clients you don't work with. It can be your biggest blessing.
So,
I know that.
Oh, man. Okay, well, let's take a step back here and pause. So, Kim, first of all, let people know where they can reach out and connect with you.
frameofmindcoaching.com. We got podcasts, we got videos, we got articles, we got an interesting assessment that you can take right there on the website too. Come and visit us. It's a very entertaining site, so I encourage you to come and take a look.
Cool. And then Gene, I know you've got a quick tip, and then let people know how they can contact you, and then we'll continue on with Kim.
Yeah, so this feels like I'm breaking the show in half. It's almost like a commercial break, right? We're such a good flow there, and then we're gonna hey, everybody, jump on the website and get this marketing technique. So I'll get in and out with it real quick. It's called Pexels.com, Pexels.com. And so what it is, you guys know, sometimes it can be very difficult to gather content for your social media. And this is one way to do that. So they have a mechanism called Creative Commons licensing, which allows people to put their pictures up on a site and you to use them free of copyright infringement and for no charge. So you go on the Pexels website and look for the Creative Commons licenses, and then you can download any photo you want. You can use them for your emails, for your blogs, for your Facebook posts, for your memes, for your newsletters, whatever you want to do. So we find it to be very helpful when we deal with a lot of agents and a lot of clients. I just did a landing page for a salon that's doing bridal, going and doing makeup for brides. And I got some really cool wedding photos free of charge that we use throughout the site. So it's a nice little place to gather some stuff. It works really well. So Pexels.com.
Yeah, I've used Pexels, guys. They've got really nice photos, really good stuff. It's not cheesy. I mean, obviously, Gina and I don't get paid for any of this stuff, but it's just quality photos. But what we do get paid for is what this show is sponsored by. That is getnoutbusiness.com. It is the class that Matt and I lead. It's a live class for a month long. It is where you guys will show you how to get business within 90 days. No door knocking, no cold calling, and a budget of $500 or below. Go to getnoutbusiness.com and learn more about it. Yep. Back to you, Johnson.
All right, Gene. So how do people reach out to you real quick, and then we'll just summarily dismiss you for the day?
Oh, I love being dismissed, especially on a Friday. Listen, you know the routine, genevolpe.com, right? So you can get me on my website. You can hit me at genevolpe@gmail.com. Just go to genevolpe.com and reach out. Can I give you this a shout out real quick?
Sure.
So for the Get Business Now, right? Get Now Business. I have had the pleasure and the luxury of sitting in on a couple of your episodes with folks. And not only is it extremely thought out, well-informed, great information, but I've actually gotten personal messages on the side telling me how from people that are taking the course and how great the course is and how they're applying the methods and the things that you guys are talking about. We didn't talk about any of that. I don't get any money for
you've
saying
never mentioned that before.
No,
I have not. But just so you know,
the gift basket's on its way.
Yeah.
Yo, speaking of gift baskets, are you coming to Philly still?
Yeah, we're trying to work something out for the end of week after next.
I got some gifts for you.
Ooh,
I don't know, can you see it?
Awesome. I guess
You
it looks
see
like a gangster.
Yeah.
I want a GVI beanie.
I got you, buddy. Don't worry. You want one of these too? Look at this. What?
So how do I get in on this party?
Exactly.
You ask. That's it.
I'm in.
That's
All
awesome.
right, you're done deal. Well, listen, Kim, have a good time with these guys. Don't let them bully you around a little bit. All right.
I think I'm good. I think I'm good.
No, I think you're
Pretty
all
much.
right. I know you're okay. Believe me.
Yeah, I was gonna say Kim can more than hold her own. All right,
Oh,
Kim,
yeah.
we'll talk
I
to you
know.
next Friday.
See you
All right,
guys
buddy.
and
We'll
girls.
see you later,
Take
bud.
it easy.
All right.
Bye.
Later, bro.
So Kim,
Bye.
let's dive back in. So we were talking about this before we went live on the episode. That we just came off of this group call where we talked a lot with agents that are looking to get into kind of a project that we're running, and they all kind of have the belief that they need a system and an executable strategy. In other words, they need to kind of narrow it down from this random list of all the stuff that they could be doing to the stuff that they need to do. Now, of course, you've run into this scenario a million times, and you mentioned that usually behind that is something deeper. It's not just the strategy. So let's talk about that. What lies behind that?
I think that a lot of people go to the actions right away. They want to reach a goal and they say, okay, what are the 10 things I need to do in order to reach my goals? And yes, action is important, but action comes at the tail end of the process. What comes before action is thought. And if your thoughts aren't aligned with your actions and your goals, then you can take all the action in the world and not reach your goals. And it's a flaw in the process, you could say. We always talk about taking massive action. We don't think about taking time to think massively in ways that align with your goals. And so what we find is a lot of people do take action and then they get stuck and they get frustrated and they think, well, that didn't work. I'm not good at this. They start to experience self-doubt. But really what didn't happen was taking the time early on to say, what is it that I really believe about my task? What do I believe about my goal? What do I believe about my ability to execute? If you don't address those questions and find the places where your beliefs really create problems for you and clean them up, if you don't do that first, you keep getting tripped up. It's kind of like an Olympic runner, and he's at the start of the race, and he's physically able, but he looks at the guy standing beside him at the race, and he's like, wow, that guy's really good. I'm never going to beat him. And the race hasn't even started, right? And if we don't clean that up, there's no way he's going to win, right? So we need to clean up our thinking. We need to bring to the surface all the beliefs that you have that are eroding your ability to reach your goals. And we have to get rid of those and replace them with beliefs that allow you to behave, right? Take action with ease.
So how do you clean out that dumpster fire in your brain of bad thoughts and replace that with
I'm
positive
laughing because I know
thoughts?
where that came from. You and I were talking about you've never used that term before.
I love it, though.
Until we talked
I'm
about
so
that
using
yesterday.
that part.
Yeah, dumpster fire.
So when I coach people, one of the things we do is, so we do two things and then we'll extrapolate, okay? So the first thing we do is we record every call. Why? So that we can get our clients to listen to themselves, listen to the words they use, the stories they tell, the emotional triggers they experience, and so that they can start to become familiar with how they think and the relationship between their thinking and their outcomes. So most people don't even have awareness. So level 1 is become aware. The other thing we do is we ask our clients to journal every single day in an online journal with their coach. And what we do is we start off with a question, and every time they journal, their coach reads and responds to the journal. So I have a team of coaches, whoever's your coach. And what happens is there's a lot of dialogue that goes back and forth, but the coach is collecting a lot of data. What are we looking for? The patterns in thinking, the patterns where they behave this way in this instance, and something similar happened in another instance. And so there's a set of beliefs that really run that person's life. And so when you're working with a coach, all this happens at an accelerated rate. Not everybody wants to work with a coach, but the act of journaling is very, very powerful. And if you can start to ask yourself some critical questions, and guys, write this down. One of the critical questions is, what do I believe about my ability, my likelihood of reaching this goal?
What do I
My
believe
ability
about
and
my
likelihood.
ability and likelihood of achieving this goal?
That's right. So am I capable? Do I have the resources? Do I know what I'm doing?
Mm-hmm.
How do I think people will respond to me? Like, what are my beliefs? If you start to ask yourself those critical questions, the true dialogue inside someone's head will start to surface. And that needs to be attacked and cleaned up before anything happens.
I mean, this is where true honesty, you have to be 100% honest with yourself on this, because if you lie to yourself and you tell yourself a false narrative that you've been telling the rest of the world, it's not going to get you anywhere. And I think that when you have that true honesty, I mean, I've had true honesty with myself on certain subject matters, and it's almost embarrassing how powerful it is. It was once as you're willing to come clean on something, and if you feel better with it, because now you don't feel like you're a false prophet, you don't feel as if you're lying to yourself and to the world, and then you are truly cleaning up that wound, and you get better and you can move forward. So guys, if you guys are listening to this on the replay, and those of you listening with us live, and thank you to all of you that are, please rewind this and go watch that and write those questions down, and then sit down with a cup of coffee and really be honest with yourself. Can
I give your audience one more assignment? Does that work?
Can you give them like 50 or 75?
I can give them 50. Let's start with 2, and then maybe 3. So second assignment. So write this down. It's 3 questions. First question is, what do you really, really want? Why are there 2 reallys? Because it's not what is expected of you, not what you think you should want, but what does your heart really, really want? So what do you really, really want? Question number 1. Number 2 is, why do you want it? Why is that important to you? What will it mean to you if you have it? So why do you want it? And question number 3 is, what's stopping you from having what you want right now? Right now, and write all the reasons why not. And in those reasons, those are that's the hub of the beliefs that are getting in your way. And if you're really courageous, send me your list and I'll connect you with one of my coaches who will walk you through it and help you clean that up. So
that's probably one of the best offers we've ever had on this show, because there's so many people that need those questions answered. I mean, what, why, and what is stopping you?
Right. Let me just give my email address in case they actually take me up on my offer. By the way,
so awesome.
Very few people will actually take action, but let's just try it. Let's see what your audience is like. It's Kim at frameofmindcoaching.com.
That's Kim at frameofmind.com.
No, frameofmindcoaching.com.
See, good thing we caught that. Good thing I screwed up.
Yeah. All right. So going back to the beliefs, right? So this is an interesting part of like when you study, let's say copywriting, right? Which is the process of selling somebody on taking action with nothing but the printed word. So you can actually go back and really get specific and strategic about what you say. So one of the key questions that you ask yourself as a copywriter is, what does the other person, if I'm going to try to persuade them to take action, what does the other person have to believe in order to take action? And that is the exact same process that you're having people take themselves through or have them go through with a coach, is really look at, okay, what do I need to believe in order to take action? Well, and why don't I believe that?
Well,
where's the disconnect?
Let's go backwards. Hold on. I apologize. Let's go backwards. It's not what do I need to believe in order to take action? Because that's a great question, but people can't even take that leap forward. Like that's a big, huge leap, right? It's what do I currently believe? And do those current beliefs interfere with my ability to reach my goals? Because what we find is people need to take incremental steps in order to believe better things in order to align with their goals. So I'll give you an example. I'm nearly 50 years old, right? I can look in the mirror. You know, you've heard people say, well, you need to do affirmations. I'm not a big believer in affirmations, but let's just pretend. Okay, so I look in the mirror and I'm like, wow, I'm a supermodel. I'm a supermodel. And I just keep telling myself that over and over again. But if in the back of my head says, like, who are you kidding? Right? The back of my head wins. But if I look in the mirror and I say, okay, so saying to myself, man, I'm ugly and old and tired, doesn't really win. But if I look in the mirror and I say, hey, for 50, I'm not so bad, right? I'm not so bad.
Right.
Then I buy that. So I need to create a series of beliefs that are buyable. And I need to climb up the ladder of better and better, more aligned beliefs. But I can't take one big leap forward. So if we go to what do I have to believe in order to be successful? Oh, I believe I'm the best agent in the world, but I know that I'm not. Knowing I have to believe it and knowing that I don't believe it creates an increase in gap. It creates a bigger, what we call cognitive dissonance. Right? So,
Interesting.
So what I want to know is, what do I currently believe? Does that serve me? And what is the truth? Like, is that even a true belief? And can I improve it slightly and then slightly more after that and continue on that ladder?
That's really
up
good.
the rung?
That is good because it's point by point transformation. It's not so much of saying like, hey, here's the huge end goal and I'm way back over here, because that you're right. That does create this, you called it cognitive dissonance. It does create that, and it creates a sense of just how far you have to go, which is never a good thing. You always want to look back at how far you've come and the next step forward, not how far you have to go. So 100% agree with that. Well, it's about that point by point transformative change.
That goes back to what I was saying in the beginning of the show, using the Sedona method of energy release, because once you feel that you can't get somewhere, you immediately release that energy and let it go off somewhere else and allow yourself to mentally and emotionally move forward as you chronicle your journey. I found that using that in line with taking the next step, not baby steps instead of leaps and bounds, you get places a lot faster. A lot of the times, what I found, Matt, is that people like whenever, and Kim, tell me if you hear the same thing. People say, "What are your goals for the next year?" I want to double my business. Oh God, do you have the systems to do it? And that's a leap, right? But what if they did extra deal a month? Or something that was sustainable.
You see, the whole question of goals is an interesting thing. There's like a whole debate out there about goals. And most coaching companies go, what are your goals? And then they say, okay, let's create a plan and let's help you achieve those goals. And let's, make you do all these things in order to achieve your goals. And I think the question of goals is a little misguided again. Because it's not so, like, what is your goal? Your goal is to live an incredible life. And how do you live an incredible life? When your thinking is aligned with the idea of an incredible life, you start to live an incredible life. And when you start to think in ways that allow you to lead an incredible life, you reach more than the goal that you initially thought. And so it's a backwards process that a lot of coaching companies do. So what I find is, like, okay, you can tell me what your goal is. Thanks. I'll write it down, but I don't really care. The question is, are you miserable? Right? If you're miserable, you're not going to reach any goal. So forget it. Right? So I need to address a person's thinking and their emotional state and line it up with their deepest desires, not specifically their goals. Their goal is expansion. Their goal is growth. It's not a specific number. The number doesn't matter.
Right.
People get trapped in the number because they assign their value, their human value, to that number. And that's such a mistake.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. A lot of the times what I've also found for myself is that even the word goal, I bring that into an interpersonal relationship with myself, and if I don't meet my goals, it is a direct hit on me as a human. So what I've done and what I've found is I actually change it to projects or problems, because now it's an A/B split test for projects, because you have to figure out how to fix this, or you have a problem, you're going to figure out how to fix that as well. It depends on which one works best for you. Projects works well for me.
Matt, what do you think about that? I feel like you're thinking hard.
He always does.
I do. Well, it's funny you bring this up because we've literally done a goal setting SmackDown show where I yelled at Greg about how much we disagree on the topic of goals, because I'm very much focused on setting a goal based on, yes, where you want to be, but it not being about the number, bringing it down to the activities and committing to the activities that will get you where you want to go. And really committing to like what my mentor Pasquale would call like these sustainable minimums. So if you're going to commit to a certain number of whatever, then you're committing to sustainable minimums instead of reaching for this goal of, well, I'm going to make 50 contacts a day, and then, well, I need to now double that to 100 contacts a day. So we've had a lot of discussions about goals, and I would probably tend to lean more towards where you're going.
Let's back up, okay? So let's talk about activities. My throat is not agreeing with me today.
That's all right. We got like 5 minutes left.
Okay, I'll speak fast. But if you boil it down to, here are the activities that help me reach my goals. Let's say it's 50 contacts a day, and you're the guy who does 50 contacts, great. But how many guys do 50 contacts? A lot of guys are happy to do 2.5 contacts, if that makes any sense. And so why aren't they doing 50? If they think, well, in order to reach my goals, I've got to do 50, but I'm only doing 2.5. So before we talk about activity, right? Like, here are the things you need to do. The question is, how are you thinking about this? That's preventing you from even playing the game. And so I always want to back up. And really, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you do 50 or 45 or 95. That's not the point. You could do 5 and hit it out of the ballpark, whereas another person could do 50 and not do anything successful. And that's a big issue right there, because sometimes you're in a groove. Sometimes you're just moving and shaking, and that has to do with how you think, right? It's not a numerical process. It's how do you show up in the world where you're scoring every time. And that has to do with how you feel about yourself, how you feel about the other person who's in front of you, how you feel about what you do, and how passionate you are. I don't know. Can you hear my passion?
Just tiny bit there.
Right? So I think people get caught up in the numbers, and people get caught up in the activity, as opposed to getting caught up in the excitement and the emotion of what they're doing, and really lining themselves up with what they're up to and what they're doing.
Yeah, there's something that I have. If you guys have never seen this, but I have a whole wall, literally, of paper. Goals and dreams and quotes and everything here. One of the things that really kind of talks about what you're talking about, Kim, is the fact that like there's a mental cycle that I love to look at, and I always run myself through this when I was going negative or positive, and I could pat myself on the back when it's positive, and I correct myself when it's negative. And I start off with my potential, and I positively reinforce my potential, what I can do. And you can either do positive or negative. And then it goes into what actions do you take? And, are you going to make the calls? Or are you not going to make the calls? Are you going to do the doors? Or are you not going to do the doors? Whatever that is, you're going to get a result from that action or non-action. Whatever that result is then going to reinforce your beliefs of your potential. So it can be a horribly negative cycle, or it can be incredibly powerful, because you're going to reinforce one of those two sides. Either C, I knew I could do it, or C, I told you I couldn't do it. But this all starts with your belief in your potential. Now, I mean, Wim Hof, climbed, was it Everest in shorts and shoes? Most people believe you're fucking nuts, dude. I'm wearing like 30 layers and I'm freezing. But he believed he could do it. His results proved he could. There's a whole long list there of other things he did. But potential begins with everything in your mindset on what you can and cannot believe you can do. Now, if you're at the bar and you see a smoking hot chick or a smoking hot dude, you're like, hell yeah, that's mine. You know what? If you believe that you can talk to that guy or gal, you can talk to him. But if you're sit there like a scared kitten, you believe yourself, you believe you can't do it, so you won't. Then it reinforces that belief. And if you guys can just shift that a little bit, believe more in yourself, give it a run. You'll prove to yourself time and time again that you can do it. And as you prove yourself that you can do it, the more you're going to go out and do it.
And if you struggle to believe in yourself, work with someone who can help you.
That's why Matt works with me. I help him every day.
Wow. All right. On that note, so Kim, let people know again where they can reach out and make contact with you.
So frameofmindcoaching.com, good place to find us and all the stuff that goes with it. But if you guys are interested in a really great starting point for this journey about looking at your thinking, go to assessyourframeofmind.com and start to take a look at how your thinking is affecting you. What happens when you take that assessment is that you get an opportunity to spend some time with one of our coaches who will look at how you answer your questions and start to really look at this relationship between your thinking and the results you're getting.
That's powerful. I mean, guys, please take her up on that. I mean, really. I mean, why would you not take her up on that?
I don't know.
I am. I really am. I'm gonna hit
Awesome.
you up.
If you do, Greg, put a little star and say I did a podcast with Kim.
Okay. It's coming later today.
Okay. Awesome.
All right. So for us guys, make sure to follow. Do not friend us on Facebook. Very, very important. Both of us get friend requests all the time that we cannot or will not accept for various reasons. Make sure to follow us on Facebook. That way you get all the notifications of when we're live and all the podcasts and stuff that we do. Make sure to getnowbusiness.com. That is the site for the live course we mentioned earlier for simple 4-step marketing plan to put commissions in your pocket in less than 90 days. So that is where that is. That is the official sponsor of the show. Anything else that I forgot to mention, Greg?
Yeah, they need to go see Kim, get their shit straight up in their brain pan, and then come over to us, and we'll put some money in their pocket. So there's there you go, guys.
There's our
Well,
assignment.
let's strike a deal together. What do you think?
I'm stay on air. We'll stay on after the podcast. We'll structure it right now, and then we'll bring it out to you guys, and you guys will be blessed for it. Kim, you're an amazing human being. I know we've taken our baby pinky nail and scraped the top of your head. We haven't even gotten below the skin, and we are all blessed to have you. So thank you for spending your time here with us, and all of you guys that have been watching with us. We are glad that you got something out of it. We've had a lot of great comments, a lot of great emojis. So guys, thank you for being here. And as always, guys, peace out, ninjas. We go.